I remember it quite clearly the first time I ever walked into a leathercraft shop. I remember going in there and I knew exactly what I wanted. I wanted this stuff called vegetable tan leather because I'd heard it was the best leather that you could get for making a knife sheath. Now, I was into knife making at the time. I wasn't particularly skilled. It was my first knife, and I made it from an old file, a Nicholson file. So I went into the store and I explained exactly what I was looking for, what it was for, and what he recommended. And he brought out a 1 foot square sheet of veg tan leather in about 3 millimeters. And it was the first time I've ever felt or touched anything quite like it. I've experienced leather from couches, I'd experienced leather from jackets, shoes, things like that. But this was more like board. It was firm, it was hard, it was almost wooden if it weren't for the fact that it could flex. So I paid probably more than I should have, walked out the shop, quite happy with myself, and went on my merry way creating my very first knife sheath, which I have right here. I'll show you in a second. But bear in mind, this was made in an apartment block with no tools, a hammer, a nail to make the holes for stitching, and not much else. And I think I was using permanent marker for color. Anyway, this is the first leathercraft project I ever made. And this is the vegetable tanned leather that I bought from that shop all those years ago. I was living in Canada at the time, so I decided to put a little maple leaf on the front there. I was into archery as well, so I had some bowstring. I was making my own bows at the time as well. So I stitched the whole thing with bowstring, Dacron, I believe. And I thought to myself that, this is going to be for the outdoors. I need this to be, quite weather resistant. So I got myself some Minwax wood varnish, solvent-based, of course, and went around painting it, thinking it was just like wood. And it had a really horrible finish to it. Didn't really like it after finishing it. It just felt really plasticky, polyurethane. So I decided to soak the whole thing in acetone to dissolve the paint, or the varnish rather, on the surface. Eventually got that out, and then melted down some beeswax and dipped it in the beeswax, or rubbed it on actually, and then put it in the oven. And yeah, I'm surprised it still exists. And this was the knife that I made. It's very crude, from an old file with a walnut handle and a piece of brass for the bolster. But this is it. So it's very, very simple, thick hide veg tan leather, way too big for the knife sheath. But this was my first leathercraft project. I'd never worked with anything quite like this before. I'd done woodworking, did 2 years at college studying woodworking, but I'd never worked with anything like this, and I enjoyed it more than making the knife itself. And all the people that I showed, everybody thought the knife was, that's okay, but the knife sheath is really cool. And I started to get some commission work from people, specifically chefs at the time. And that was really kind of my first experience with leather, which started the love affair. I went on to make a few more knife sheaths. Here's one for, I think it was a buck 119, with a little stag on the front there. Again, using Dacron bowstring for this, different style of sheath. And that was my first foray into leathercraft. And all the things that I make now, attaché cases and doctor's bags and, luggage, watch straps, wallets, and all sorts of things, and pushing the boundaries of leathercraft and fine work, and seeing where we could take our craftsmanship. This is where it all started. So I thought I would create a course for you guys on how to make a knife sheath. But of course, this being the Leathercraft Masterclass, I wanted it to be a bit more special, almost, if such a thing exists, a luxury knife sheath, though it's not using exotic leather or anything special. I wanted this to be an ode to craftsmanship, and I wanted it to be something that's almost unfamiliar but still practical. So the knife sheath that I ended up creating was this. And this is a turned edge knife sheath. Now, turned edge work you see a lot more in finer leather goods, and wallets, watch straps, and high-end bags, where the skill of the artisan is really at the forefront on show. And I thought to myself, I honestly have never seen a turned edge knife sheath. I want to create one that's durable, that looks good, and is practical at the same time. So this is it, and it's a wrapped knife sheath. So it has a vegetable tanned core on the inside, and it's wrapped with durable goat skin on the outside. And you can use virtually any type of leather on this if you want to, but goat skin and kangaroo are probably going to be the toughest ones to use on the outside. But everything, didn't make this one. Everything on the inside is also turned edge. So the strap that comes around here is turned edge. The belt loop on the back is turned edge. And we have leather inlay on the inside of the snaps as well. And of course, at the top, finishing it off, the snap button itself is also wrapped. So this is a quite generic design. I chose a knife that wasn't an unusual shape. It's something that's quite common. It's, I believe, about a 5-inch blade on there. It's a standard hunting knife. But I came up with a design that could work from anything from hunting knives, outdoor knives, all the way up to chef's knives. Now, the course that I created doesn't come with a pattern, because unless you have this exact knife, pattern isn't really much use when it comes to knife sheaths. So this course is really teaching you how to create your own pattern quite simply using a design that's not overly complex. Of course, you can do this without doing any turned edge work. You can finish it just as it is on the outside with a little wax using straight undyed veg tan leather or whatever color you like, with burnished edges instead of turned edges, or you can use edge paint if you really want to. That's completely up to you. So this course is quite flexible in the sense that someone who is relatively new to the craft can do it, because I did it in my first project. But also if you're intermediate or you're advanced, there's parts of this course where you can take it a step up and level up and create something that's really unique and shows off your craftsmanship in an interesting way. So this is the Turned Edge Knife Sheath course. It is available at the Leathercraft Masterclass. If you click the link in the description below, you'll go there, and there's also a free video available right now on hand stitching. So if you are brand new, or if you want to take a look at how I hand stitch, then don't forget to get yourself your free video, and also check out the preview of this course coming after this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have you ever wanted to make your own knife sheath but didn't know where to start or how to make your own template? Then discover how to make a knife sheath for almost any knife you own. You don't even need any sheath making experience. You can make them for outdoor knives, hunting knives, or even your kitchen knives at home. Here I reveal all my tips and tricks for creating a one-of-a-kind knife sheath that showcases fine craftsmanship and technique. Now you'll discover how to make your own pattern for almost any knife shape with a simple hack using graph paper and card. How to make a quick and cheap foam prototype to prove your design before cutting into any quality leather. How to create a turned edge for clean edges that showcase your craftsmanship. No burnishing, edge paint or bindings needed, and you won't even need to use a skiving knife. How to recess your stitching in a groove to protect the thread, but without compromising those beautiful angled stitches, combining the best attributes of Western and European style leatherwork. How to line and wrap your snap fasteners for a neater, more completed look, creating an invisible join. To make this project, you'll need 0.5mm thick skins and 2mm thick vegetable tan leather if you want a turned edge, or 2.5mm vegetable tan leather if you want a simpler, easier to make sheath with burnished edges. For more information, head to leathercraftmasterclass.com. So click the link in bio now, and I'll see you there. Hi, my name is Philip, and this is the Leathercraft Masterclass.